Dismantling the Killing Bell, do not enter if not like, plus the female protagonist has set it up privately, barrier Master+Array Mage, Control+Healing, plus double strength and double cleanliness plus 1v1 exclusive Pet+Double worlds, in the same time and space as Govi, the main city is capturing demons plus in the back Inuyasha Warring States period. Plus the image of the killing palace may be a bit shattered, the author has set it up privately, do not enter if not like, plus don't watch if you don't like it progressing. Quickly, lazy to explain, people hate ghosts and hate monsters, but Yi Wan, who has a stunning appearance, contracted to be a companion beast at the age of 16, and the result was that the opponent was a super invincible monster. What? He said his name is Sashimaru. At the sight of the Palace of Killing, Yi Wan was mistaken for his whole life. With a strong desire to turn him around, Yi Wan was determined to turn him around, but he was actually turned back to the Warring States period of the Maru of killing Yi Wan, who guarded her all her life and generously went to die, revived her life and turned into a soft and cute red fox, accompanying her by his side. She only wanted to live recklessly and spend her whole life with him, but this direction is not quite right. Why does everyone want to support her? Kick you. Do you want to stay here? Methreya. Isn't this a necessary divine favor for going out to chat up? Coral. You can stay here, I will take care of you. Govi. So cute. Xiaoling, Amber. Sister Awan, I ended up having fun and accidentally got caught up in the villain's thoughts. Nara. Yi Wan, I wouldn't be interested in you as a woman barbarian. It seems like taking a pet is also good. Sashimaru's eyes turned cold, and with a single slash, he rolled away from me a noble and cool sentence. Awan, let's go. Yi Wan's face was full of smiles, and she followed behind him with a bumpy voice, okay. Everyone. This is a fox spirit raised by Shiseimaru. Chapter 1. Summoning a puppy from the pool. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Prior statement. Emotions are heating up quickly. The first point is that the female lead fell in love at first sight, so she quickly confessed unilaterally. Secondly, in the original text, Xiaoling sent rice to Sha Dian for a few days. She was beaten for finding food for him, and her bright smile allowed Sashimaru to save her for the first time with her natural teeth. Isn't the progress fast? Isn't the 300,000-word Pure Dog Yacha's article progressing fast? If you don't like the fast progress, you can leave it. I have also done a lot of preparation for male and female leads in modern times, and both of them have experienced things, so I really don't want to explain this issue to you again. Yi Qing, whose hair turned white, wielded a large machete and swung it around towards a small object in the air. But the little thing is so fast that he just can't hit it. He stopped panting heavily and plunged his big knife into the ground once. Wan used the barrier technique to trap it. I saw a 16-year-old girl standing there calmly, carved in powder and jade, exquisitely beautiful and not like a person. It was an unforgettable face. A black and red hoodie paired with navy blue jeans, wrapped in a red silk around her waist, and the sound of a bracelet ringing on her wrist as she walks. She spread her fingers open, with 4 paper stars between her fingertips. Raising in front of the monster in front, the paper star instantly stopped in mid-air. They formed a 3-dimensional triangle array with red lines between each other in the blink of an eye. Trapped the ugly monster inside, it angrily rampaged inside but couldn't escape. Yi Wan walked forward, her eyebrows furrowed, and her face was full of disgust. This looks too ugly. The round body has a tail like that of a mouse, and the mouth is large enough to swallow a football, but its sharp and fangs are disgusting. Yi Qing raised a big knife on the side. With a gentle grip of Yi Wan's hand, the barrier became smaller and smaller until it had no space to move anymore. Yi Qing chopped it down with a knife, and in an instant, the small thing turned into a pile of gray residue, then disappeared. Yi Qing said helplessly, alas, these demons and monsters are appearing more and more frequently. It's really hard for me, this old bone. You are the most talented child in your family. Although our family has declined, you must remember to take it as your responsibility to eliminate demons and defend the way, he said earnestly to Yi-Wan-Wan. It's none of my business. There's a tall support when the sky falls. She cleverly changed the topic and said, Grandpa, I'm already 16 years old. I can go summon the companion beast in the pool to contract myself. Companion beasts, as the name suggests, are meant to accompany for a lifetime, living and dying together. As soon as Yi-Wan thought about having a companion beast, she still had some anticipation in her heart. Her fox eyes were shining brightly. Yi Qing coughed and touched the non-existent beard, saying, well, that's it. When your elder sister and second brother were your age, the companion beasts summoned were very powerful. You have better talent than them, and your spiritual power is naturally stronger than anyone else. You must be the most powerful companion beast. Upon hearing this, Yi-Wan was overjoyed. The eldest sister's was Qingwan, and the second brother's was Jiaolong. She rubbed her hands. It would be great if her companion beast was a white tiger, how majestic it was. She followed Yi Qing back to her old house on the outskirts of the city with all her movements. From the outside, it looks shaky and dilapidated, but at first glance it looks old and has a large area covered with a layer of barrier. There are large areas of osmanthus trees planted in the yard. August is the season filled with the fragrance of flowers. Yi-Wan was taken by Yi Qing to a small room in the backyard. In the middle of the room, a stove the size of a safe was shining with black light. No, why is the summoning pool a stove? She is at a loss for understanding. Yi-Wan's expression was indescribable. Are we so poor? I thought the summoning pool was so tall. Shut up, Yi Qing scolded, nodding and bowing to the stove. Children are ignorant, don't be angry. Wan, come on. Cut your hand and let the blood drip into it. Yi-Wan saw that her grandfather was angry and didn't dare to say anything, so she quickly followed suit. Picking up the sharp blade and swiping it across the palm, the air suddenly filled with a special bloody smell, with a hint of sweetness, as if it could seduce people. But as soon as her hand was placed above the stove, it was sucked tightly, and blood flowed in freely. In an instant, she began to feel dizzy, with a lack of oxygen in her brain. Grandpa, you didn't say it's so edible. Yi Qing's face turned pale with fear. This is the only good seedling in the 3 generations, don't suck it to death. He hurriedly grabbed her other hand and was about to pull her out. It evolved into a tug-of-war competition. Just when Yi-Wan thought my life was on end, the stove mercifully let go of her. Then it exploded with a loud bang, and black smoke billowed. Yi-Wan. I have been saved. Yi Qing. Oh my, the summoning pool has been bombed by this little ancestor, and the foundation is gone. We will have to drink from the west and north in the future. Yi-Wan tilted her head and pointed to the white object in the middle of the stove. Grandpa, is there something buried below? Yi Qing dug inside for a while and took it out. It is a snow-white dog with a crescent moon mark in the middle of its forehead and a furry big tail. It looks quite fierce, but its size. Petite. The body is thin and long, with long ears hanging on both sides. It is tall and elegant, lightweight like a swallow, and looks very beautiful overall. Yi-Wan looked incredulous and her voice increased by an eighth. Is this my companion beast? A killer dog? Are you teasing me? Yi Qing was also puzzled. It shouldn't be, but it seems like it is, but it seems like a yiksha dog. Yi-Wan is no longer willing, no matter what breed it is a dog. Are you joking? Why is my companion beast just a dog? Look at its weak and uncontrollable appearance. When I think of big sisters Qingwan and second brothers Jiaolong, she's in a mess. Isn't this gap a bit big? Yi Qing advised her, look, even the summoning pool cannot withstand his power. He Should be very powerful. Grandpa, don't treat me like a child to coax. What kind of summoning pool is that? It's just a broken stove, it's broken into that virtue. I think it's just summoning an ant that would explode, let alone this brat. Yi Qing. You're not a child, what are you? He touched his nose and knew that the family had declined. The summoning pool was getting worse and worse day by day, and sooner or later it would explode. But he really didn't expect this situation today. The two of them were wide-eyed and nauseous. I didn't notice the puppy in their mouth and my ears twitched. Sashimaru looked at everything unfamiliar around him, first in shock, then on alert. The golden eyes were unusually cold, and a threatening hum was emitted from the mouth. Immediately caught the attention of both grandfather and grandson. Yi Qing. He woke up. Yi Wanwan hugged her chest and looked dissatisfied. You're also a brat when you wake up. This small one isn't enough to stuff those things between your teeth. He couldn't understand Yi Qing's words, but he actually understood Yi Wanwan's words. Feeling insulted, Shiseimaru's eyes sank and charged towards Yi Wanwan with a fierce murderous aura. Even though he was stunned for a moment when he saw her face, it was only a moment, and he still wanted to kill her. Lying down, Yi Wanwan was shocked and turned pale, her body agile as she dodged the attack of Shiseimaru. Isn't it that the companion beast will obey the host's commands and protect her from the bottom of its heart? Why did this dog kill its owner as soon as he came up? In the narrow space, she dodged from side to side, hitting the cold with a thunderbolt and jumping around. With a flick of his tail, Sashimaru was slapped out and fell to the ground. She covered her chest, a trace of blood oozing from the corner of her mouth, and stared tightly at the room. The house, which was already not very sturdy, collapsed with a loud bang, and dust and smoke billowed. Yi Qing fanned the dust and crawled out of the room. Sashimaru still maintains his animal form, to be precise, he can't even transform into a human form now. He walked step by step towards her. Yi Qing quickly dodged to his granddaughter and flipped his hands, revealing the big knife. A sudden pressure came from the air, and his forehead was bulging with veins, and his back was wet with cold sweat. This kind of pressure almost made him unable to withstand it. Just when he thought they were going to explain it to him, Sashimaru's body softened and he lay on the ground, feeling a pain in his chest. The contract has been completed and will take effect at this time. The two of them had a pattern in their hearts that resembled a Tai Chi diagram, making it difficult to separate them. Their chests were slightly feverish. If it weren't for the powerful strength of the killing pill itself, it wouldn't have taken so long to take effect. As early as when he hit Yi Wanwan for the first time, he suffered a backlash. He bared his fangs and glared fiercely at Yi Wanwan. No one can control me, Shiseimaru, delusions. Sashimaru pounced on Yi Wanwan without believing in evil, ready to tear her into pieces. Yi Qing was so shaken by his momentum that he couldn't move. He watched helplessly as he stretched out his fangs towards his granddaughter, feeling extremely anxious. Chapter 2. My companion beast, the great monster Sashimaru. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At the moment when Sashimaru was approaching, Yi Wanwan let out a cold snort, the corner of her mouth gently curled up, and shouted loudly, "Jia!" A five-pointed star-shaped formation immediately appeared at the feet of Sashimaru, shining with a golden light. He was instantly immobilized. Yi Wanwan cursed loudly, "If a tiger doesn't show its power, treat me like your pet cat and hit me as you please. Little sample, dare to kill the master. I'll stew you and eat meat now." After finishing speaking, I had to roll up my sleeves and pluck my hair, without paying any attention to the increasingly cold expression on the face of Sashimaru. Yi Qing quickly came over to stop her and coaxed her little ancestor, "No, you can't touch him." Yi Wanwan widened her eyes. She didn't hear her wrong, did she? He even wanted to kill her. Grandpa actually stopped her. Yi Wanwan angrily crossed her waist and asked for an explanation. Yi Qing's eyes dodged, and his words were also ambiguous. Oh, anyway, you can't kill him, and he can't kill you either. Wanwan, Grandpa doesn't lie to you, but now is not the time to tell you the reason. Be obedient. Yi Wanwan had a foul expression on her face and glanced at Shiseimaru, but he's so fierce that you can't even control him. There is no master who cannot control their companion beast. Let the elder sister and second brother know that they cannot laugh at her. Yi Qing pulled her aside. He can't kill you because he can't even kill you. If he hits you, the damage you've suffered will be returned to him 100 times. If he really kills you, he won't be able to live either. Go ahead, put your hand on his forehead, and you'll know his name. From now on, you two will be one, living and dying together. Yi Wanwan reluctantly walked up to Shiseimaru and said, Don't bite me. I don't have the money to get vaccinated against rabies. After all, her family is so poor. Hey, actually I'm a very talkative person and won't enslave my companion beast like Big Sister. I won't experiment with companion beasts like my second brother. Can we be friends first? At least we'll work together in the future. The answer to her was the sharp teeth and shining claws of Shiseimaru, but he was restrained and unable to move. Yi Wanwan gently placed her hand on the lunar seal on his forehead and whispered, This lunar seal looks pretty good. She closed her eyes and quietly felt his breath. Their breath blended with each other, and each other's name came to mind. Sha Xingwan. Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan. Sha Xingwan. The experiences of each other went through in their minds, but the difference was that the white mist that Sashimaru saw. And what Yi Wanwan saw was the raging flames of war, a blood-red warring states period, and his tearing of other people's claws. She is completely foolish. This is not a spiritual pet of China, a divine beast. What he meows is a monster in the anime. She struggled to turn around, laughing more than crying and saying, Grandpa, this is the big monster in the anime. Is that stove brainwashed? How could it be a companion beast? Yi Qing was also dumbfounded after listening. Didn't the prophecy say that the most talented child in 3 generations and her companion beast could save the world? I didn't say it was a monster in the anime. 2 people and 1 dog fell silent. Suddenly, a roar came from the north, and everyone turned their heads together. Wanwan, is your body okay? Yi Qing said with a serious expression, It's not a big deal. Yi Wanwan flicked her hair in front of her forehead with a foul expression. Of course, we have to ignore her trembling legs and stomach, as well as her pale face due to excessive bleeding. Yi Wanwan's body is very special, and her healing and recovery abilities are so fast that she doesn't look like a person. She herself doesn't know why. Yi Wanwan turned her head to look at her little dog and said, Sashimaru, I'll let you go now. But you can't get angry with me anymore. I know you definitely want to go back. When I find a way, I'll send you back. Yi Wanwan waved her hand and the barrier disappeared. Sashimaru moved his body and stood up, still full of hostility. But Yi Wanwan is a thick-skinned person, and she circled around him. Although I called him a brat, it was just a comparison with everyone else. He can barely move himself with his current physique. At this thought, Yi Wanwan became excited. She leaped vigorously and said happily, You can carry me on your back, Sashimaru. Just a moment later, before her buttocks touched a strand of his hair, a white shadow flashed by. Yi Wanwan let out a loud scream and fell to the ground again. Sashimaru shook his tail. Dare to treat him as a mount and seek death, but the idea of killing her in my heart is somewhat stirring. Yi Qing pulled up Yi Wanwan with an anxious expression and said, Don't fuss. They don't allow you to ride, you ride a yarn. Hurry up, go and deal with that guy. Yi Wanwan patted the soil on her body and said angrily, I understand. Yi Qing turned her head to look at Sashimaru, her 60-year-old face covered in wrinkles. Just now, Wan said, your name is Sashimaru, right? You'd better remember a little bit. Firstly, killing the master comes at a cost. The more she hurts, the greater the pain you will experience. Your responsibility is to protect her, and even if she dies, you cannot live. Besides, you can't be too far away from her, otherwise you will also die. Wan, translate it for him. Wan said it truthfully again. Sashimaru looked at them coldly, without saying a word, only wanting to dream in his heart. A lowly and foolish human deserves his protection. Let's go quickly, Wan. Yi-Qing pulled Wan and started running. And while Sashimaru remained motionless, Wan couldn't help but turn back to look at him. She gritted her teeth and turned around to run back to the side of Sashimaru. Yi-Qing. Hey, Wan. Wan looked at Shiseimaru and said, you come with me first, otherwise you will really die. Can't I send you back when it's over? I don't want to take a life for nothing. Causal cycle, carrying human life in this life, how can we repay it in the next life? Sashimaru gave her a generous glance and got up. Wan's eyes lit up, as long as she could make sense. 2 people and 1 dog arrived at the scene of the accident. A person's head was flying aimlessly in the air, with scattered hair emitting a foul odor. Wan looked at it disdainfully and said, this hair quality is too poor. This calm appearance made Sashimaru take a glance at her, but only one glance. As soon as the person on the other side heard the sound, it turned back, with bloodstains on its face, even uglier. Yi-Qing. Granddaughter, don't provoke it. The person's head emitted Jie's laughter and rushed towards the 2 of them, Yi and Sunday. Sha-Xingwan made no movement, waiting for Wan to be splattered with blood for 5 steps. I saw Wan's agile figure dodge, and her head pounced in the air. What came towards it was Yi-Qing's large machete, which struck its face and emitted black energy. Suddenly, Wan's eyes lit up, as if she had seen the long-awaited prey. Yi-Qing noticed it and asked, Wan, do you feel anything? It has fragments of divine artifact sealing the sky seal on its body. Wan licked her lips, her whole body excited. I haven't been busy for nothing tonight. After hearing this, Yi-Qing also had a happy expression on her face. She raised her big knife, raised her head, and expanded her chest before going up. Then he saw his hair flying wildly across from him, running towards him in a dense manner. A bundle hung him in mid-air. Yi-Qing shouted loudly, Wan, save Grandpa. Upon seeing this, Wan raised her eyebrows slightly, flipped her palm, and typed out the talisman paper in her hand. The person's head spun 360 degrees in the air, making a spin and evading her attack. He gave her a mocking laugh and said, Gaga. Wan. The smile is really unpleasant. She took down the red silk from her waist and gently stroked it with the red lotus flame on her palm. Immediately, a red flame flashed on the red silk. She immediately got entangled in a fight with the head without saying a word. The moment the black hair touched it, it seemed as if it had been melted, and then dissolved into a burst of water vapor. Sashimaru squinted his eyes, flashing and flashing. This girl is not easy. I only heard a painful howl from the mouth of the human head, swaying and turning around to run, as if I had drunk too much. Can a duck with a urine like Wan make it fly when it reaches its mouth? But coincidentally, it flew towards the direction of Shiseimaru and angrily rebuked, get lost. The cold light in Sha-Xingwan's eyes flowed, and as soon as his paw was lifted, he proudly reported to the underworld. As soon as it died, Yi-Qing, who had been tied up, fell to the ground, but he didn't even shout a word of pain. His eyes were fixed on Shiseimaru. This dog is amazing. Chapter 3. The Killing Palace used as hunt. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wan's jaw was about to drop in shock. She remembered that her brother and sister's companion beast did not have such strength when they first came out. So she found the treasure. Sashimaru shook his paws and looked at them from a high position. Yi Wanwan even saw a hint of disdain in his eyes. Yi Qing took out a piece of debris shining green from the mud. Yi Wanwan looked curious as she looked around it and said, "Grandpa, is this the fragment of the seal from the sky? It feels so friendly." Yi Qing's eyes flickered and he said, "Let's go back." The two of them returned home with unwillingness to take the killing pill. Yi Wanwan looked at the ruins of that place and didn't know what to say, adding insult to injury to her already poor family. Jingxi is thinking that she will have to take on extra fast food to earn money soon. It seems that she is short of money in her life. Yi Qing arranged the killing pills in the room next to Yi Wanwan. He yawned and went to bed, not caring about his granddaughter's life or death at all. Yi Wanwan and Sashimaru stared at each other, but to be precise, she was the only one staring. Even though Sashimaru is no longer in human form, he still has a calm, noble and elegant appearance. Those eyes were calm, just looking at her made her feel an inexplicable pressure. Yi Wanwan. Is this the strength of the great monster? She rolled her eyes, it was none of her business, then turned around and went back to the room, closing the door to sleep. Sashimaru glanced at the door, got up, and flew towards the outside of the house. He didn't believe it and couldn't go back. He wants to see what kind of ghost place this is. He was flying in the air, seeing the surrounding scene and furrowing his eyebrows. Everywhere are tall houses and colorful lights, I don't know how they came out. On the road, there are some strange iron boxes running. He stopped in mid-air, lost. This is really not the place he was in. Sashimaru remembers that he was taking a nap under the cherry blossom tree, and as soon as he opened his eyes, it turned into what it is now. A roar next to him interrupted his imagination. A woman in her 20s walked over with a spirit beast that looked like a lion. He is eyeing the killing pill. The woman was wearing a white collar suit with a noticeable chill on her face. Wild spirit beasts, A dog, barely feed my little lion. Sashimaru's gaze turned cold, and his body was ready for battle. The little lion pleasantly rubbed against the woman's leg. She touched its head and had to work overtime to find food for it after work. Woman. Forget it, make a quick decision. After finishing speaking, one person and one lion rushed towards Sashimaru. Sha Xingwan squinted his eyes dangerously and opened his mouth, revealing his sharp fangs as he approached. The Great War was about to break out, with one person and two beasts fighting in darkness, getting further and further away from Yi Wanwan's house. Yi Wanwan rolled over and slept soundly in bed, feeling her heart burning with heat. I'll go, it's hot, it's so hot. She stood up straight from the bed, tugged at her clothes, and looked at the gradually turning red contract marks. Feeling flustered in my heart, I quickly opened the door and realized there was no dog. I went up to the next room again and saw that I wasn't there. That dog actually ran away from home. Yi Wanwan didn't have time to change clothes and sensed the location of the killing pill. Wearing pajamas with Snoopy printed on them, he began to run towards him. As I passed by the little Trojan horse, I made a hard turn and stopped in front of it to ponder for a moment. On the other side, with a flash of his body, Sashimaru dodged the lion's bloody mouth. He turned his head and bit it on its shoulder. The little lion let out a painful howl. Looking at the blood sprayed out by the little lion, the woman's eyes turned red with anger. She gritted her teeth and said, I want to die. With a single sword, he struck toward Shiseimaru. Sashimaru barely managed to dodge the blow, but was still scratched. He could feel the demonic power in his body slowly weakening. The old man's words echoed in his mind, saying that being too far away from Yi Wanwan would lead to death. In an instant, Sha Xingwan exerted a force, and the surrounding wind surged, shaking the opponent away. How could he have died in such a place, with such a suffocating death method? He hasn't received his broken teeth yet, and hasn't shown his father how wrong his choice is. A strong sense of unwillingness and anger filled the entire chest. We fought against each other again. On the street, Yi Wanwan drew a formation for her little wooden horse and rode it quickly towards the direction of Sashimaru. If there were a mount, it would be much faster, he complained while rushing to the roadside. When she arrived, the woman was stabbing at Sashimaru with a sword. The little lion next to him was glaring at him with resentment, preparing to launch a surprise attack. Just now, Shiseimaru felt his power slowly returning. With a flash of light, he indeed saw Yi Wanwan not far away. Yi Wanwan threw her red silk and entangled it with the woman's sword. She cursed loudly, "Murongjing, who gives you the courage to touch my beast?" "Okay, Yi Wanwan, he's actually your companion beast, hee." Murongjing suddenly remembered that Yi Wanwan had reached adulthood and was old enough to have a companion beast. She couldn't help feeling jealous in her heart. Looking at her seductive face, she felt even more jealous. The two of them were deadlocked, one holding a sword and the other pulling up the red silk. The little lion next to him rushed up as soon as he saw his owner trapped. Yi Wan glared with his eyes wide, "Get out of here. If you dare to come here, I will chop you into stewed pork ball in brown sauce." The little lion was roared and froze in place, unable to think. Why is this woman so fierce? Murongjing looked at its silly appearance and was so angry that she almost vomited blood. "What are you doing with your pestle? Give me a bite." Hear the master's words. The little lion reacted and came towards Yi Wanwan's neck. "Yi Wanwan. Damn it, my companion beast wants to kill me, and their spirit beast wants to protect the master." The anger in Sha Shengwan's heart had not yet come out, and his snow-white hair flashed a silver light under the moonlight. He raised his sharp claws and teeth to block the lion beast in front of him, and then fought back together. Without the harassment of Murongjing in the agony of losing demonic power, killing him with the pill was like playing. The scars on the little lion's body were increasing, and the rolling flesh and blood made Murongjing feel both heartbroken and angry. In China, there are 4 families specialized in dealing with demons and monsters. The Yi family, Murong family, Gong family, and Dongfang family. Each child will undergo a spiritual test after birth. It is normal for children with strong spiritual power to be trained with emphasis, and contracted spirit beasts are a common occurrence. But the reason why the Yi family declined and was not kicked out was because of their companion beasts. Spiritual beasts can terminate contracts at any time, but companion beasts share life and death, and their souls are interconnected. This leads to the Yi family's beasts being much more powerful than theirs, as their power can stack and blend together. Murongjing gritted her teeth and said, "It was your companion beast that came out to run around aimlessly. You can't blame my beast for treating him as wild and wanting to eat him." Upon hearing these words, Yi Wanwan exploded. "What the hell? If you want that stupid lion to eat him, I have to grill your lion beast today." Murong calmly almost tilted back and said, "If it were you, wouldn't you let your beast eat someone who has no owner?" Yi Wanwan. "Eat it, then you must eat it." The two of them couldn't draw a winner, so they both withdrew their hands at the same time. Murongjing said, "That's it. You should make him stop quickly. It's an honor for my beast to beat it, but if it wants to eat my beast, it won't work." "Oh, I feel sorry." Yi Wanwan wrapped her hands around her chest, and what she said was taken for granted. "You don't want face." Murongjing blushed and was about to charge upwards. I saw the killing pill in the air, slapping the little lion towards the ground with one paw and smashing it towards Murongjing. In an instant, sand and rocks flew away, and a large pit appeared on the ground. One person and one beast were stunned with gorgeous beauty. Sashimaru's eyes were sharp, ready to end those two idiots together. Yi Wanwan quickly stood in front and urgently put out the fire. "No, you can't kill her. Killing her will cause a lot of trouble." Sashimaru had a cold dog face and blood still flowing from his front legs. The four major families are interdependent, and once one party breaks the agreement first, it becomes difficult to handle. Small fights and disturbances, all with one eye open and one eye closed, really rise to murder. Even a fierce tiger cannot withstand a pack of wolves. It's not a wolf from the same place yet. Yi Wanwan lowered her head and thought for a moment. Let's save their lives and play slowly. Let's find a way for you to go home first. How about that? You can't be surrounded by these inconspicuous people when you find a way, it's so troublesome. Sashimaru pondered silently. If it weren't for not being able to kill Yi Wanwan, he would definitely not agree. Yi Wanwan breathed a sigh of relief when she saw that he had listened to the advice. Looking at his wound, she placed her hand on it, closed her eyes, and a golden light flashed through her hand. Chapter 4. Swinging the Tail at a Word of Discord. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A hint of amazement flashed in Sha Xingwan's eyes, and a warm stream flowed through the wound on his leg, which actually healed automatically. Quietly, he also underwent a change. He looked at his sudden transformation into a human form and raised his hand. Looking at Yi Wanwan with a deep and inscrutable gaze, she actually has the ability to heal others. Watching his wound heal, Yi Wanwan stopped moving, her eyebrows and eyes full of fatigue, and her lips turned 2 points white. She just noticed that the dog's paw had changed. I didn't expect her companion beast to transform into a human form. The companion beasts that can change in 2 forms are both very powerful. Yi Wanwan looked up at Shiseimaru and was stunned. She heard an arrow thrust into her heart. Emma, this is too beautiful. The white kimono was adorned with hexagonal plum blossoms, and the silver long hair was blown up by the wind. Under the moonlight, those golden eyes were even more profound, with 2 demon lines on each side of their cheeks. Add a unique charm and the wildness of monsters to the already cold and noble appearance. Yi Wanwan's hand unconsciously reached towards his face. Sashimaru looked down at her with no expression on his face, but just as she reached out her hand. His eyebrows furrowed slightly, his body turned, and his furry big tail exerted force. Yi Wanwan proudly lay on the ground again, cursing in her heart that having a tail is amazing. She would swing her tail if she didn't agree. Sashimaru snorted coldly and sat on the stone without saying a word. Yi Wanwan is angry, and if she is angry, she needs someone to be angry with her. She picked up the phone and dialed a number. Hello, Murong's family. Your second young lady has been kidnapped. Use the money to redeem her, or else we will tear up the ticket. What? You asked me about my account and told me that it's on Yi Wanwan's account, young master. Quickly hung up the phone, waiting to collect the money. Within 3 minutes of the result, the other party's call came over. On the other end, Murong Fan roared angrily, Yi Wanwan, can you be like a woman? You've blinded your face in vain. Yi Wanwan raised her eyebrows and casually found a place to sit, lazily leaning against the stone, her calves swaying and trembling, very stiff. Oh, isn't this brother Murong? Why, don't you want your beautiful sister anymore? Murong Fan also calmed down and his mind turned quickly. Ha! There was an agreement among the 4 major families that war could not begin until the unknown dark tunnel was resolved. Yi Wanwan smiled slightly, her exceptionally bright face washed away without being demonic. Sashimaru glanced at her and didn't understand who she had been talking to. Was she talking to him? Haha. Humans are weak and foolish, and I won't protect you with my killing pills. Yi Wanwan. What kind of madness does Shiseimaru have? She ignored him and continued to negotiate with Murong Fan shamelessly. I can't kill her, but I can take her. Then hang it up to the tree for everyone to watch, and I will send a message to the group now. Murong Fan quickly said, you stop, I'll give you 50,000 yuan. No, double it. My beast is injured, including medical expenses, nutrition expenses, lost work expenses, mental damage expenses, and the heartache expenses of my master. Morong Fan gritted his teeth and said, "Don't go too far. Hehe, you know it's too much." It was agreed that one of the 4 families would manage one side, and your sister would go to my territory and eat my beasts. Yi Wanwan's cold voice, accompanied by an ice cone, fiercely thrust towards the opposite side. "I tell you, don't play tricks on me. Whether it's wild or domesticated, it's not your turn to eat in my territory. Next time she comes, I will hang her in the city center for people to watch." Morong Fan remained silent, his face gloomy as he could drip into the water. "I know," he said after speaking. He hung up the phone. The air was eerily quiet. Unable to resist, with a push of both hands, the documents scattered all over the desk. He gritted his teeth and said, "Yi Wanwan, that's great." And when Yi Wanwan received a notification of receiving 100,000 yuan, she was very pleased. The anger of being flicked by Sashimaru's tail also came out. Her face was tinged with a faint smile and she said, "All right, let's talk about our business, Shiseimaru." Sashimaru looked at her as if her gaze was not so cold anymore. Yi Wanwan twisted her fingers and said, "I've checked, and your situation should be called time travel, but I guess it's happening. It's because a black hole appeared in my world, from which many demons and monsters ran out. You may have been summoned to this world for this reason, and if nothing unexpected happens, your world should also be in the same trouble." "My world doesn't have one," said Sashimaru with a frozen expression. After a while Yi Wanwan's lips curled like a cunning little fox, saying, "Your world may not necessarily be a black hole, it may also be a link that can connect other worlds. This may not be certain, how about it? Shouldn't you like to cooperate with Sashimaru? Once the matter is resolved, you may return to your Warring States period as soon as you open your eyes." With a movement of his eyebrows and eyes, he considered the possibility and said, "Temporarily." Yi Wanwan's scheme succeeded, and the pride in her eyes was well concealed. In fact, this is just her guess. The chance of getting it right is only half, and the other half is that he really can't go back. Sure enough, not long after, someone from the Morong family came and took those 2 little trash with them. 1 person and 1 dog returned home. The next day at dawn, Yi Qing received a complaint call from the Morong family and rushed to Yi Wanwan in a hurry. As a result, I saw a noble and cold man sitting on the cherry blossom tree in front of her granddaughter's window. You, who are you?" Yi Qing was stunned. Yi Wanwan brushed her teeth and came out from beside, spitting out the water in her mouth and saying, "Shishingwan." Yi Qing said, "Can he transform into a human?" "Isn't that right? Your elder sister and second brother have been using it for several years and have eaten a lot of good food." Yi Wanwan was actually puzzled, as if it was because his own strength was injected into his body while treating his injury that he suddenly became a human. "Forget it, if you can't figure it out, then don't think about it. I heard you extorted a sum from the Morong family," Yi Qing said as the topic changed. Yi Wanwan sneered and said, "Grandpa, don't be so superficial. I'm doing a good deed. You see, Morong Jing is not going back with many parts. She wants to stay outside by herself. Maybe the demons and ghosts come out as dim sum." Yi Qing nodded in agreement. "Yes, everything you said is right. So what are you going to do with that money?" Yi Wanwan gave him a white glance and transferred the money to him for 80,000 yuan. "Dispose of that piece of ruins," she said. Then he took the 20,000 yuan and came to the face of Shiseimaru, arrogantly saying, "What do you eat every day? I'll buy it for you, I have money." "I don't eat human food," said Sashimaru, glancing at her. Yi Wanwan. "Don't eat humans? Monster meat? Or spirit fruit? Mad, it seems like there isn't enough money." She lay flat on her chest, unable to move up or down, and turned around to leave. "I won't serve you anymore." Yi Qing smiled when he received the money and greeted Yi Wanwan, "Are you still going to the store?" Yi Wanwan paused and glanced at the beautiful nobleman, gritting his teeth and squeezing out a word. Go. A quaint shop on this street looks out of place, with a sign reading Demon Language House and a small line of characters next to it. Catching demons and monsters, catching demons and monsters, catching mountain spirits and wild monsters, just don't catch people, love what you do. Yi Wanwan was lying on the noble concubine's chair with a small fan, staring at Shiseimaru. And Sashimaru leaned against the back door, looking at the peach blossoms in the backyard. It seems that your eyes don't want it anymore. Sashimaru's eyes lit up and he turned his head faintly, giving her a cold profile. The result was taken aback by the light in Yi Wanwan's eyes. That was a pair of clean eyes. She always smiled brightly, with pure and bright admiration and liking inside. He closed his eyes, out of sight and out of mind, hoping to kill her once again. At this moment, a guest came to their door. The little girl was only 10 years old, and she timidly poked her head. "Hello, may I ask if you are here to catch demons?" Yi Wanwan replied with a smile, "Catch it, not only capture demons, but also ghosts. There's nothing you can't think of, nothing we can't catch. What's going on? If you want to catch me, I'm in a good mood today and I can offer a discount." The little girl spoke up and said, "Hello big sister, my name is Fulling. My sister is missing. Can you help me find her?" "Little girl, I'm not looking for anyone here." Yi Wanwan patiently explained to her. Fulling's eyes turned red and he said, "But my sister is very abnormal." Chapter 5. Strange Missing Woman 1. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 6. Strange Missing Women 2. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The lights in the hallway flickered with a sizzling electric current, and the little mice hid on the side trembling. "That cat dares to wait for you here," said Sashimaru, his eyes fixed and he sniffed the smell in the air. "Oh my, this is provoking me, that's great." Yi Wanwan has a unique brain circuit and enjoys such provocation. "I really can't understand this woman anymore." Fulling opened the door and walked in with the two of them. Her sister Yunling squatted on the refrigerator, her eyes flashing green, and she bared her teeth. "It looks both fierce and foolish." She made an unpleasant sound in her mouth, as if she had been burned. "You are from the Yi family, hand over your artifact fragments." Yi Wanwan's heart sank as she wondered how she knew I had fragments of a divine artifact on me. However, the fragments are placed in the ancestral hall at home. After all, there is a powerful barrier protecting the house, and it is not that one's own demons cannot enter. She had a smile on her face, and her fox eyes curved slightly, as if she could speak. "Do you want an artifact? Tell me earlier. I'll sell it. As long as you can afford it. Do you want a night pot or a toilet? I guarantee it's authentic. Don't be fooled by their poor shape and a bit of odor, but their functionality is definitely not a problem. I'll give you a cheaper one, 100,000. The corner of Poria Kokosa's mouth twitched on the side. I can't understand what she's saying. Before the cat demon could answer, without even saying a word, Shiseimaru flew towards the cat. Yi Wanwan quickly took out the talisman and threw it into the room. In an instant, the surroundings seemed to be covered with a layer of blood, and Yao Shou, this small ruin couldn't withstand his turmoil. The talisman thrown by Yi Wanwan is a creation talisman, which simply means creating an independent space to fold with the real space. But when it comes to fighting, even if the independent space is completely destroyed, it will not affect any grass or trees in the real world. Creating this independent space requires Yi Wanwan's strong spiritual power to support it. As Yi Wanwan threw out the talisman, she cursed, "No, Shiseimaru. I haven't even reached a deal yet, so don't beat it to death." Fulling looked worried at her sister, who had been missing for a day and was covered in white hair. Yi Wanwan patted her shoulder and said, "Don't worry, there is a sense of propriety in the use of the killing pill. It won't harm your sister." As a result, Sha Shengwan pinched his neck and pressed Yunling against the wall. The wall fell off in response, and cracks like spider webs spread out in all directions. Poria Kokos. Yi Wanwan felt a real pain in her face. Yunling was pressed so hard that she couldn't move, roaring with heart-wrenching pain. Fu Ling's tears brushed down and she said, "Sister, I'm Fu Ling. Can you wake up?" Turning his head again, he grabbed Yi Wanwan's sleeve and begged her, "Sister, can you help her?" Yi Wanwan's habitual smile melted like ice and snow, and she walked calmly to Yunling. Gently tapping her forehead with her hand, trying to find her memory, only to find a blank space where the ancestral soul-chasing technique was useless. She asked coldly, "Go ahead, why do you say the artifact is on me?" The cat demon let out a piercing laugh and said, Yi Wanwan, your disaster is coming soon. You will all die, she won't let you go." Sashimaru glanced at her and with a flick of his hand, he pulled the cat demon out of her body. The cat demon still has scars on its body. Yi Wanwan looked at the blood rising around it, which was also a pitiful cat, abandoned and abused by others. But this layer of blood indicates that she has a human life in her hand, and if there is a human life, it cannot escape the cycle of causality and retribution. She supported Yunling, who had fainted, and gently placed her on the bed. And the cat demon was also wiped out by the claws of the killing pill, with no residue left. With a gentle wave of her hand, Yi Wanwan's room returned to its original state, as old as ever. Fu Ling hugged her sister and cried bitterly. Yi Wanwan's eyelids trembled and she said, "Your sister is fine. She's just been possessed by the cat demon for too long and lacks some energy and spirit. Just make up for it." After speaking, he took out a safety token from his pocket and handed it to her, saying, "Let your sister wear it. After 3 months, it will turn into fly ash, and the side effects of being possessed will be gone." At this moment, Yunling woke up in a secluded state. Looking at the Sashimaru in front of him, he quickly protected his sister behind him and screamed out in fear, "Ah! Monster!" Chapter 7. Being a person is not good at all. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yi Wanwan looked at the indifferent expression on her face, and the corner of her mouth twitched. Please, can she stop shouting so loudly? Monsters can be good or bad, don't worry, the one I raised is good, handsome and good-tempered. Then something flew past their sisters. Fu Ling, Yunling. Have a good temper. Yi Wanwan, who fell downstairs, crawled out of the grass and spat out a piece of grass from her mouth. Feeling itchy with hatred, he took out a small notebook from his body. On the first day I met Sashimaru, he threw me out with his tail because I wanted to ride him. The second time I was thrown out by Sashimaru, wasn't it because I wanted to touch his face when I saw him, but he was really good looking. I saw Yi Wanwan biting off the pen cap and writing another line of words while brushing at the back. The third time I was thrown off by the killing pill, I just wanted to express that he was raised at home, so he threw me down. His tail is really amazing. Sashimaru flew down from upstairs and saw her lying on the ground writing something, furious. Yi Wanwan looked up at him, stood up calmly, and snorted at him. I went back to my house one after another with Sashimaru. Yi Qing was watering the osmanthus tree in the yard, watching Yi Wanwan come back with a drooping face. What's wrong? Is business not good today? You came back so early. Yi Wanwan. Let's be careless. Yi Qing spread his hands wide, where is the money? Sashimaru flew to the only cherry blossom tree in front of Yi Wanwan's house and sat with his legs bent against the trunk. He watched quietly as she tried to tell a lie. Yi Wanwan smiled shamelessly and took out the only steel coin from her pocket. Grandpa, are you happy? Yi Qing. Swinging her sleeves in anger and leaving, this granddaughter went to the store 10 times, 8 of which were losing money. Yi Wanwan smiled and looked at the Shiseimaru on the tree, saying, Do you want to eat osmanthus cake? Shiseimaru. Sashimaru stared at her as the gentle breeze blew through his long silver hair. The two of them looked at each other, but remained speechless. The scene suddenly became exceptionally beautiful, frozen in each other's eyes. Not long ago Yi Wanwan, who was busy in the kitchen, came to the tree with a plate of fragrant osmanthus cake. Raising a bright little face towards him. Sashimaru, who has always disliked human food, was taken aback when he smelled the fragrance in the air, as if he could give it a try. This aroma is different from the human food he encountered. Yi Wanwan propped her chin and watched as Shiseimaru gracefully ate osmanthus cake. She took out 2 small jars of peach blossom wine and shook them, asking, "Do you want to drink it?" The small jar is exquisitely made, and the peach blossoms blooming on it are lifelike. After speaking, he didn't care about the killing pills and drank the wine on his own, with a light pink tint on his cheeks. A plate of dim sum was soon finished. At this moment, Yi Qing received a call from Yi Yuanyuan. "Grandpa, that black hole is getting bigger and bigger. Can Wanwan find the artifact fragments? There are still 5 pieces left." Yi Qing's face was solemn as he said, "Don't worry, there's no problem. The shards of the artifact will take the initiative to find Wanwan. But one is in our hands, and who else is in our hands? The seal of heaven was only broken into 7 pieces due to an incident 15 years ago." Speaking of this, Yi Yuanyuan felt a bit angry. It's not yet Yi Hao's love brain. He found it first, but when he saw Murong Jing, his mind went blank. Let the Murong family have it. Yi Qing sighed and said, "My second grandson is good at everything, he just has a love brain. My granddaughter is good at everything, but she has a bad temper. My granddaughter is even better at everything, but she doesn't have the truth in her mouth. There's no one to worry about, there are still many petty thieves who can't take care of when they get old. Grandpa, let Wanwan come over these 2 days. There's something very wrong here, maybe there's an artifact missing. It's not enough to rely on her broken shop for luck." Yi Qing responded. "I'm going to go find my little granddaughter and talk to her." As I walked into the yard, I saw Yi Wanwan shaking her head and mind, unconscious. His nose twitched and instantly exploded. Roared and said, "Yi Wanwan, you're going to die. You actually pulled up the flowers of the osmanthus tree to make pastries. My son, do you know how difficult it is for this tree to grow? How much demon power does your plate of experience help Shishinjuan grow?" He looked at the bald branch and held on to the trunk, crying and twitching. Shishimaru's ears trembled, looking at the last piece of cake in his hand, his mind moved slightly. Just now I felt like eating it, and the restricted demon power was gradually recovering. Looking at Yi Wanwan again, his gaze changed. In his eyes, humans were cunning, weak, and foolish. But she seems different. Yi Qing's face turned even worse as he held the wine jug and said, "You're still drinking. You're just wasting the peach blossom wine I brewed. Where are you drinking, donkeys?" Turning his head, he asked Sashimaru, how much did she drink? Unexpectedly, the unsupervised killing pill guessed his meaning. 2 jars. She snatched his jar to work. Upon hearing this, Yi Qing immediately blew his beard and glared, "It's hopeless." Yi Wanwan tilted her head, her eyes shining brightly, and threw herself directly at Sashimaru. "You look really good." Yi Qing furrowed her brows, shouldn't this girl really fall in love with her companion beast? Although she likes to flirt with handsome guys, it seems different this time. Drunk like this, I can only talk to her tomorrow morning. Yi Qing left alone. Sashimaru was about to throw her out again. Yi Wanwan smiled and said, "Let me play the music for you." She took out a white sun from the treasure bag around her waist and blew it. The voice is mournful and lingering, gentle like a gust of wind, speaking the most touching love words. This is my mother's favorite song, but when she passed away, I was too young, and now my impression of her has become very vague and blurred. Sashimaru, actually being a person is not good at all. If you say you're dead, then you're dead, right? Sashimaru stopped the hand that wanted to throw her out. She is now fragile as if it will disappear with just a touch. After finishing speaking, Yi Wanwan tilted her body and fell onto the leg of Shiseimaru, with tears still hanging from the corners of her eyes. Under the moonlight, silver shimmered. Sashimaru looked motionless at the bright moon and starry sky above his head. The sun slowly rose, sticking its head out from a corner, and an orange halo slowly climbed up from the two of them. Yi Wanwan whimpered and frowned as she slowly got up, feeling a headache. She shook her head hard to make herself clearer. Grandpa's alcohol is really strong. As soon as he lifted his eyes, he saw the side face of Sashimaru, who gently closed his eyes. "Your grandfather came to see you yesterday," said Sashimaru as he opened his eyes. "What did he come to me for?" "He ran out of money again." "He's such a spendthrift, isn't he?" Yi Wanwan said with a question mark on her face, "Can I have you as a spendthrift?" Yi Qing didn't expect to come to her early in the morning and hear her speak ill of him. Yi Wanwan awkwardly averted her gaze. "Yi Qing. I'll go to Linjiang City this afternoon. Your sister's side is a bit troublesome." "Haha. We've never paid each other. I guess we suspect there's news about the artifact over there, otherwise she wouldn't come looking for me." A hint of mockery flashed through Yi Wanwan's eyes. She can't remember how many fights their sisters fought from childhood to adulthood. Yi Qing's eyes widened and he said, "Don't be stingy. Pack up your things and go ahead quickly." Yi Wanwan pursed her lips, arguing back and forth. The main business still needs to be taken care of. She quickly tidied up her clothes. As she was about to leave, she ran to Yi Qing and touched the tip of her nose. Her shameless and unpleasant appearance stirred Yi Qing's heart. Chapter 8. Shanzhiqi Incident 1. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 9. Shanzhiqi Incident 2. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Yi Wanwan looked at the little girl in front of her and couldn't express herself in a word. This expression is too fierce. The cute child has now turned into this ghostly appearance. Shanji noticed that the few in front of him were not easy to deal with, and his mouth rustled. Sayako ran into the forest. "Chase," Yi Wanwan said with a cold gaze before she could finish saying this word. The killing pill darted out and its tail brushed in front of Yi Wanwan. Seizing the opportunity, Yi Wanwan reached out and hugged it, then followed suit and flew out. Sashimaru just turned around and glanced at her, but he didn't throw her away. Instead, he tacitly agreed. Yi Wanwan felt a burst of joy in her heart. Yi Yuan. No, why is Wanwan such a flying method? Can't you just turn back into your true body and take it with you? Cold eyebrows and eyes glanced at his own Qingwan. The other party was very obedient and transformed into a blue phoenix, flapping its wings. Yi Yuan leaped forward and followed suit. After chasing for a while, Shanzhiqi stopped in front of a small lake. It looked at the person behind it with a fierce expression and kept making rustling sounds. Yi Wanwan and Sashimaru looked at the mountain item that intentionally led them over, their eyebrows slightly raised. She moved her fingers slightly, pinching the paper star at her fingertips, and rushed up all over. The claws of the killing pill curled slightly, emitting a faint green light, ready to catch it. Quickly dodged the mountain piece. Yi Wanwan's heart sank. She had to separate the person from the monster first, otherwise the little girl would die. She shot the paper stars in her hand into the tree trunk, clasped her hands together, and pressed her fingers against each other, changing a few movements. He said, "Seal it." Yi Wanwan's movements were caught in the eye by the killing pills, and a green whip appeared in his hand, tying it up. With a light flick of the arm, it was thrown into the formation. In an instant, the gossip formation trapped the monster in place, and countless vines emerged from the ground to bind it. The ferocious face appeared unusually irritable, and the rustling sound began to become urgent. Qinghuan looked at her master with some confusion and said, "Master, should we keep watching?" Yi Yuanyuan sneered and said, "I just want to see what kind of companion beast she contracted, and now I see it." She walked slowly towards them. Yi Wanwan said, "After watching the excitement, let's take action. Otherwise, it would be a shame for you to get this 100,000 yuan. Yi Yuanyuan. She's really losing money." Two sisters grabbed the monster's shoulder at the same time, and one of them directly dragged the girl out. Her eyes were tightly closed and she was still asleep. Yi Wanwan said, "This way, it's better to avoid being scared." Sashimaru shook his hand and furrowed his brow. He could smell the scent of other monsters in the air. Yi Wanwan set the girl aside, feeling a sense of being stared at in her heart, which made her very uncomfortable. After solving the girl's safety, everyone was about to exterminate this monster. I didn't notice any slight noise coming from the lake behind me. Sha Xingwan, who was born with a powerful demon power, suddenly looked at the water surface, with a cold sensation all over his body, staring straight at it. The water surface rippled layer upon layer, as if some terrifying beast was about to emerge. Yi Wanwan seemed to feel something. A fierce and cruel aura suddenly struck, and Sashimaru flashed away, holding onto Yi Wanwan's waist and moving aside like a gust of wind. And Yi Yuanyuan and her Qinghuan stepped back and jumped onto a distant tree for the first time. With a big mouth, he directly bit into the mountain piece and swallowed it into his stomach. With a few clicks, he ate it all. The self-proclaimed cleverness of the mountain piece has just retired. Yi Wanwan. Oh, my God, this is a dim sum for others. This new one is a little big. Should the boss pay more? Right. Shishenguan. Do you like money so much? Her seductive eyebrows and eyes were filled with a smile, like someone who had come over to educate Sashimaru. There is a saying in our world that money is not everything, but without money, it is absolutely impossible. Sha Xingwan. In my world, money is the most useless thing. As long as you are strong enough, you can survive very well. On the other side, Yi Yuanyuan was almost infuriated by these two people, and her violent temper could no longer be contained. You two haven't finished speaking yet, thinking you're coming for a trip. What's wrong with this damn thing? A pair of tender white hands tucked in her black hair, and Yi Wanwan spoke shamelessly. You give me 200,000, I'll kill it. Yi Yuanyuan was so angry with her tone that she calmed down instead. Okay, I'll take a look. It's been a few years since I last saw you. How far have you grown? Yi Wanwan chuckled softly, with a charming and enchanting look in the fox's eyes. The whole person rushed straight towards the 10-meter-long python in front of them. The black scales shone brightly in the morning sunlight. The cold vertical pupils emitted a chill, and water dripped from the venomous teeth. Yi Wanwan seriously suspected that it was watching them crave for the DC Hala. Sha Xingwan was the first to bear the brunt, with a sharp claw hitting it. There is no need to consider whether the other side is possessed and keep one's own hands. Yi Wanwan followed closely behind, with the red silk in her hand crawling up her huge body from top to bottom, carrying the red lotus flame. Chapter 10. Suishenmaru, continuing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The python suffered from pain and screamed in the sky, while the snake's venom flew wildly in the air. Yi Wanwan jumped a few times on it, lightly tapping her fingers on the python. Wherever you point, there is a glimmer of gold. Yi Wanwan stood with her right hand on her chest, her face icy cold. With my spirit, I have formed a seal, trapped. The claws of the killing pill also fiercely penetrated the body of the python. When the arm was pulled out, blood splattered everywhere, entangled with silver hair in the air, giving off an exceptionally seductive feeling. Yi Wanwan blinked her eyes and her body trembled slightly. A wonderful feeling swept across the body, breathing accelerated, and the heart pounded non-stop. She was stunned, is this the feeling of liking someone? If at first it was because he was good-looking and had a special temperament that attracted her, then now she may really be attracted. Sashimaru looked up at her, and the dark shadow beneath his feet made his pupils shrink. He flew towards her, holding her and avoiding the sharp teeth that suddenly appeared below. This is a grey python that is even larger than the one just now. Everyone was shocked to find that there were actually two. Yi Wanwan leaned against the arms of Shiseimaru, her pitch-black eyes as calm as ink. No wonder the scent of not feeling the fragments just now was on it. The grey python saw the black python injured and collapsed weakly to the side. His eyes lit up with anger as he stared at Yi Wanwan and Sashimaru. Yi Yuanyuan's eyelids trembled slightly and she said, "This is just a couple. I hit my wife and my husband came out." Qingyuan tilted her head and was also surprised by the scene before her. "Master, you seem to be right." The grey python, seeing its wife injured, lost its sanity and rushed towards Sashimaru recklessly. Because the blood smell on his body is the heaviest, it can feel the blood of his own partner on his hands. Yi Wanwan flipped over and approached it, waiting for the opportunity. Sashimaru is a claw directly on the front. The grey snake tail swept over, and Shiseimaru leaped upwards. Yi Wanwan crawled out from behind him, and with a flick of her red silk, it tangled around its tail. The grey python pulled its tail hard, pulled over Yi Wanwan, and threw it heavily to the side. She flipped over in the air, her hands propped up on the ground, and her face looked ugly. This was not in the same class as that. The skin is much thicker. Upon seeing this, Yi Yuanyuan raised her hand and the water on the lake formed countless ice cones, hitting the grey python. But it doesn't have much effect. Qingyuan also reverted back to its original form, dealing with it and leaving flames on its body with its own claws. Sashimaru jumped back 2 steps, trying to pull out the knife from his side. The hand placed on it involuntarily stopped, and he lowered his gaze, which contained emotions that Yi Wanwan couldn't understand. But she understood that there must be a reason why he didn't pull out the knife. Yi Wanwan took out the fantasy bone fan, opened it with a loud bang, and turned it around in her hand. The corners of his mouth were tinged with a smile, and the fan in his hand had changed its shape into a knife. She threw it directly to Sashimaru. "Kill Xingwan, continue." Unconsciously, Sashimaru continued with the knife in his hand, and the power emanating from the knife was so powerful that it was heart-stopping. He flashed a stream of light in his eyes, exchanged a glance with Yi Wanwan, and flew over again to fight against the grey python. Yi Yuanyuan held onto the nearby tree trunk to catch her breath, her expression complex as she said, "Grandpa still gave it to you. What's wrong?" "Not convinced." Yi Yuanyuan's heart seemed to be pounded hard, struggling in pain. Even Qingyuan on the side stopped and remained silent. "No, you don't understand what giving you that fan means. That is fate that no one has escaped." Sha Xingwan left marks on the body of the grey python with a knife. The black python took advantage of the lack of attention and quietly crawled towards the unconscious little girl. Yi Wanwan's mouth curved slightly, and with a flash of her body, she stood in front of her. Staring coldly at those pair of erect pupils. "Are you underestimating me too much?" After speaking, a purple light flashed in her hand, and a circle appeared around the little girl, protecting her inside. No matter how much the snake tail attacks, it won't be able to get in any way and won't hurt the girl at all. It roared angrily and loudly. A gentle breeze blew, carrying a few fallen leaves, and entered Yi Wanwan's sight. She raised her hand to pick it up, crushed it with her hand a few times, and blew gently with her mouth. The fragments were carried by the wind and adhered to the body of the black python. In an instant, a dense array appeared on it, one after another exploding with dazzling flames. In a burst of hissing, the huge body fell to the ground with a loud crash, dead through. Yi Yuanyuan's mouth twitched. "I really don't want to say anything about her abnormal formation anymore. One reason why Yi Wanwan's formation is so powerful is because her spiritual power is strong, whether it is attack, defense, or control, she is not even a little stronger than others. Another reason is that her formation is formed unconsciously due to the lack of regularity in her movements, such as a gust of fresh wind, a leaf, and a sentence. It's simply beyond defense, there's nothing so outrageous. On the other side, he took the sword transformed from the phantom bone fan and added wings like a tiger to kill the life pill. Every wound carries the bonus of the red lotus fire, leaving heavy marks on it. Yi Wanwan looked at the white meat and felt a bit restless. It was so powerful, and the meat should have a strong spiritual energy. It seemed like snake meat was also quite delicious.